Dandavad Pranam Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Om Devi ki jai. Hari Bol.
Dandavad Pranam. Dandavad Pranam Prabhu.
Ananda ji.
Dandavad Pranam Maharaj.
Are you okay over there?
Yeah, Maharaj.
I thought it would be seeing you in a tent today or something. Everything okay?
Yes, Maharaj. Everything okay for grace. Sir Guru and Vaishnava. Thank you. Maharaj, little 1 minute, please. Anindita, come. You close the can. Okay? Second, 30 seconds.
Okay.
Dandavad di Uma Devi.
Dandavad.
Hari Bol. Dandavad. Raj Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing well. I'm at my parents.
You're with your parents? Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. They're happy you're home now. Huh?
Yeah. I make prasadam for them.
Happy Rosh Hashanah.
Thank you. Yeah, we did a little something last night. Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Bhagavati Jai. Yadarshana Jai. Jai.
Yay.
Did you settle everything? All your problems there? Oh, Lakshmi. Is that Lakshmi? It's so small, it looks like a cat sometimes.
Little Lakshmi.
So small, yeah. Did you settle your problem with your house?
No, Maharaj, no.
Not yet? Okay.
No, not yet.
By Krishna's mercy, everything will work out okay for you.
Thank you, Maharaj. All family is very worried because of this problem.
Yes, I'm also worried. I'm feeling very happy. You know, you have so many problems.
But we are faith in Guru, in Vaishnava, in Krishna.
He will take care of you. No problem. Krishna doesn't like to give devotees difficulty unless some important thing, he wants some important change to be made. And sometimes it's very difficult when we have to do something new, when we face new circumstances. We're afraid because we don't know what will happen. But Krishna is there in all circumstances. And although we are afraid to face new circumstances, Krishna will help us. Just have to have patience and don't lose our faith. That's the main thing.
I feel Sri Krishna, promise protect to your devotee, but the problem is I am not devotee. I am not devotee. This is the problem. I am not devotee.
That's a problem. Anyhow, Krishna loves you. That's our good fortune. He loves us more than we love him.
Yeah, you do that.
Anyhow, we try. Okay, let's send Vandana.
The matter.
Vandeham Sri Guru Yutabad Sri Guru Jivam Sadvaitam Parijana
Sahagana
Radha Krishna Om Agana Puja Shri Guru Gorvabhistas Govinda Devam Sri
Saraswati
Krishna Prema Suvadiyahan Sukam Pranam Bhaje Namo Gaurakisoraya Bhakti Vinodamurtaye Gaurangari Padmabrija Radha Bhavani
Vande Bhakti
Vinodam Vinodam Swarupakan Bhakti Sastranja Sampraya Bhagarasa Sudhanini
Gaura Raja
Rajatita Shishai
Vaishnava
Vaishnava Bhakti-Lahan Jagannath Rupande Premadi Virga Vaishnava Vanchakalpataruryacha Kripa Sindhu Yaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Pachatvatmakam Krishna Bhaktarupasvarupakam Bhaktavatanam Bhattakyam Namami Bhakta Sattika
Namo
Mahavadanaya Krishna Premanamudayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namagovrati Namaha Jayatam Surata Pango Mahamandamate Gaki Vatsarvasva Mujo Radhamana Mohana
Divyadvrindaranya
Srimadangara Shiptanasta Srimadanga Govinda Deva Prestarivi Semanami Smarami Iman Rasa Rasambi Bhakti Vadadata Stita Karsam Venus Vane Gopi Gopinata Sri Yestuna Jaya Tulasiya Priya Kesavadacha Krishna Bhakti Pranavedi Radhavajari Namo Namaha Atanatva Mantra Guru Guru Bhagavata Yasanya Guru Tato Yaya Puri Raje
Jai
Nasa Balikara Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundara Parabrahmaya Jastu
Shri
Shri
Krishna
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya, Srila Bhakti Discount Santa Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Govardhana Ki Jai.
Jai.
Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to the world of the devotees. Lord Premanandi. Hari
Hari Bol.
I am Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
$13, $14.
Namaste, Linda. To Linda. Haribol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, have you well?
Ah, yes, very nice. Thank you.
Good. Good.
So today, reading from Sri Prapanna-jivanamrtam, Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Parivrajacharya, Asatana Sata, Sri Sripad, Bhakti Rakshak, Sri Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Sri Prapanna-jivanamrtam Ki Jai.
Jai.
Reading today from the 3rd chapter, text 14. Tadiya sevanam nahi tucham Jnanavalambaka kechit echit karma valambaka Vayam tuhari darshanam padatrana valambaka Dev-Acharya. Service to the Lord's devotee is not a trifling matter. Some people take shelter in the path of action, while others take shelter in the path of knowledge, path of action, karma, while others take shelter in the path of knowledge, jnana. But as far as we are concerned, we have chosen the sandals of the servants of Lord Hari as the only refuge. That is called bhakti. So these 3 terms, karma, jnana, and bhakti. Karma means exploitation. Jnana means renunciation. And bhakti means dedication. Karma, exploitation. Why exploitation? Karma means you're acting for some result. You're acting, the actor and the environment have a relationship of taking. The actor is taking from the environment. And the way nature is set up, whatever you take from the environment, that is also taken from you. Reaction, like action and reaction. That is the law of karma. Whatever you exploit, whatever you try to extract from your environment, that environment will have to balance that out by taking from you. American Indians, they had a nice, I've heard they had a way of, when they would kill an animal for food, they would always tell that animal, I am killing you in this lifetime for my food. And the next lifetime, you will kill me for your food. they were always aware of this kind of balance in nature. So that's very nice. Anyhow, karma is like that. Exploitation means you are taking something, but you will also have to pay for that, and not that you will not get any that is free in that sense. And Gyan, renunciation. Why is that associated with renunciation? Generally, those who are seeking knowledge are unhappy with their present situation, and they want to know how they can get out of it. They want to know how they can change that situation, so they don't feel any difficulty. So Gyanis are like that. They are trying to liberate themselves from whatever their present situation is, so they come to some higher position where there's not so much suffering or whatever they're seeking to escape from. So it's an escapism, and therefore it's called liberation or moksha. They're seeking to liberate themselves from an uncomfortable situation by trying to manipulate their thoughts. Gyan. And bhakti means dedication. Bhakti means we don't try to exploit the environment. We're not trying to free ourselves of the environment, but we're trying to see the environment as divine, it's kind, it's loving, and we are trying to serve that sweet environment, have a loving exchange and create further sweetness, further joy. That is bhakti, trying to relish. The environment is Krishna's creation, is Krishna's energy. That's called Sandhini. Baladeva is the first expansion of Krishna. It's called Sandhini, or the environment creates the paraphernalia of the Lord. His throne, the dham, the bodies of the devotees, all these are created by Sandhini potency. And so the material environment is also an expansion from Balaram through Narayan and Vasudeva and Mahavishnu, and then comes this material energy. So it's also coming from the Lord. So in this way, if we can try to deal with the environment in a more spiritual perspective, a more divine perspective, we can see that it's there to help us, to participate with us. It's actually not different from us. You can say the environment is just the content of consciousness. What is in our consciousness, that is what the world is. So it's not a foreign element. It's our own intrinsic element. And learning how to deal with that properly, that is Krishna consciousness. So bhakti, dedication. We don't try to exploit. We don't try to renounce the environment. We try to serve, harmoniously serve in the environment, without thinking it's something foreign to us, but something that we can find our home in. We're at home just like a fish is at home in the water. Water is not a bad thing for a fish. For us, it's not good to live in the water. We will drown. But a fish can live there nicely. Fish tries to come to live on land, he will have difficulty. In the same way, when we can understand the spiritual nature of ourselves and our environment, then we can live happily in that. The devotees feeling like that. As long as we can serve. And our closest connection with divinity comes in the form of a devotee. Devotee who is already serving Krishna, who has already raised his consciousness to the platform of Krishna consciousness. If we can associate with such a person, such a soul, then we can most readily and easily connect with that plane like with that plane, and service to such a soul, that will, by Krishna's magical potency, raise us to that platform also. And the Chincha Shakti. Text number 15. Asmadananya nishta jajantu bandhavak sarve nindantu guravo janaha tatapi paramanando govindo mama jivanam of Sri Kshetra. Exclusive devotion or dedication is born from service to the devotees. My friends may forsake me, and my traditional teachers may denounce me, but the light of my life will always be Sri Govinda, the personification of divine ecstasy. One who wants to be a devotee, they will lose their interest in all other things that are not connected with devotion to Krishna. They'll lose all interest in that. And those who are interested in the mundane world, they will lose all interest with such a devotee who wants to dedicate his whole life to the service, 100% dedication of his heart and mind and body to the service of Krishna. He may lose all friends who are interested in other things. Why you are doing this? Why you are chanting Hare Krishna? He wants you to come with us, enjoy some this, that, or the other thing, these pleasures of the material world. And so a devotee will say, no, I'm not interested in drinking or eating meat or having a hamburger or all these things that people do. Doesn't attract my attention anymore. Maybe I used to be like that, but now I don't want to. Now that I found Krishna's lotus feet as the ultimate goal of my life and service of his lotus feet, all these other things are of no use to me, like so much garbage on the street. And a devotee, therefore, by Krishna's arrangement, may give up all those other distractions and focus his attention completely. 10%, as Prabhupada used to say, 100% means on Krishna's lotus feet. Govinda Maharaj used to talk about devotees having 50% Krishna consciousness, or 25%, or 10%, or 90%. Now that depends on how much focus we have, how much attention we are giving to Krishna, and how much attention we are giving to other things, more mundane things. That will determine the percentage, how we call a percentage of our devotion. So there are different degrees of surrender and service to Krishna. Some want to do it so much, and then they want to have so many material desire filled also. So this depends on the individual, how much they are really ready to surrender, and how much Krishna is ready to accept them also. Both sides are there. Krishna is always willing to accept us, but we may have other plans. And Krishna says in the Gita, Ye yata mam prapadyante. His principle is that, Ye yata mam prapadyante. As you surrender to me, I reward you accordingly. He doesn't force, there's nothing forced. It's a very sweet relationship. The more you love me, the more I love you. Because we think it is coming from us. We think everything is coming from us. But in reality, it's coming from him. He is the source. Aham sarvasya prabhava. Which is, I am the source of everything. Sarvasya means everything. Sarva. I am the source of everything, Krishna says. Even our devotion to him is coming from him. But we may think we are doing that, but that is actually the way Krishna reciprocates with his devotees. By his own sweet will, for the purpose of his own sweet pastimes, he relates to the devotees, and the devotees are relating to him like his puppets, like his puppets. And devotees are very happy to be his puppets. They don't resist his loving maneuvers, you could call, his loving ways. They're very happy to accept. So there's no free will involved. There is. Devotees are fully independent and self-conscious, and they have their own free will. But they like to serve Krishna. They like to be his servant, surrendered servant. They have no objection to being a surrendered servant, a slave to Krishna. They have no objection. Whenever Krishna wants to condition, Krishna wants to relate to us, we accept that. That is a peaceful life. Then our life becomes happy, fulfilled. It's only when we resist and we think, I have a separate will, and I want to do this and I want to do that. Then there's a problem. We feel some difficulty. I don't know if I told you this. There was some joke somebody was making, said, do you know how to make God laugh? And you know how to make God laugh? That was the question. Do you know how to make God laugh? And so the answer was yes. Tell him your plans. Tell him your plans. In other words, you may have your plans, but Krishna has his. And he is God. So what are you going to do about that? You have to accept his plan. That's perfect. And you may think, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, but no. If that is not Krishna's will, if that is leading you away from Krishna, he won't allow that. Because that is not what you really, for his devotee, he knows that is not what they really want. So he will always manage to foil our plans. Thank God. That we may not become too distant, too embroiled, and so many other things. That is his love. And for those who want to go away from him, he also grants them their wishes. He does fulfill their plan. If they want to become a millionaire or this or that, the other thing, he may allow them, because they're not ready to accept his servers. Anyhow, so we try like that. Try to surrender to Krishna's wills, Krishna's plans, even though it may not be in accord with our own. And in that way, we will find what our hearts are really looking for are found in his shelter, under his shelter, under the shelter of Krishna and his devotees. Not only Krishna, but his devotees also. Sometimes we may think we're doing what Krishna wants, but we don't always understand that properly. And so it's necessary to have a guide, a guru to help us, someone who has made more progress in that direction than we have. And that will help give us some guidance and direction in when we have difficult decisions to make. Aprakrita ratudayas yatat vatu shashrani yatad vyakyayatu tarkika jivanam mama chaitanya padamboja sudayavatu Prabodhananda. Supra mundane attachment also develops. The scriptures may say whatever they have to say in the various areas of jurisdiction, and the expert logicians may interpret them as they wish. But as far as I'm concerned, the sweet nectar of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Chandra is my life and soul. Now, Prapanna Saraswati was a very, very educated, advanced, learned devotee. He wasn't a simple person. And he is saying like this, that the scriptures, he was very thoroughly familiar with scriptures, all kinds of literature, and the logicians, and he was very expert in logic. They interpret them as they want. But there's something more than the scriptures. There's something more than logic. There's something more than reason. All these things are there. But what is more than that? And he's explaining that. So Krishna says in the Gita, Vedaista Sarvam, Aham Eva Veda. The Vedas are there to know me. People are so interested in the ancient days, they were so interested in following the Vedas very strictly, doing the sacrifices in a proper way. In South India, you could still find this practice, that the South Indian Vaishnavas especially, and others, Shaivites, they all believe in following the scripture very strictly. They have a very strict life. Even in this country, we met some of the sannyasis of the Swaminarayan followers. Very strict. They have such strict principles that the sannyasis, the brahmacharis, have to observe. Very beautiful, actually, to see that there are people who do that. So strict with their principles, with their lives, and they give up all connection with the opposite sex, and don't take food anywhere except that it's prepared by the devotees.
They don't have their own phones.
Oh, they don't have their own cell phones. Big sacrifice today. Anyhow, that kind of life where a strict following of the scriptures. Krishna has actually advised Sarvadharmam Parityaja, that don't worry, that the Vedas are not the final end. And the scriptures, the injunctions, that's not the final end of life. That be just to follow all that very strictly. He says, but give up all that dharma. The Vedas explain dharma, what your duties are. Huh? It says, give up all those duties, that religiosity. That is not going to get you to the goal. The goal is me, not the rules and regulations. I am above all of that. I have established that. And your goal is to have a personal relationship, a loving relationship with me, to follow my will. I've given all those injunctions and whatnot to guide people who don't know that they have a relationship, that I am there and they have a relationship with me. Those are people in the material consciousness, material frame of mind, that is there. Give them some guardrails, that they can follow. But in coming to me, you have already surpassed all of that, the purpose of all those things. So don't take that as the highest. My love, your relation with me, your surrender to me, that surpasses all those things. But that is made very clear in the Gita. Gurudev has to present that to us in order to understand properly. Otherwise, we can all become bewildered, enamored, or whatever you want to call it, by all the scriptures, junctures, and rituals and traditions and things like that. I lose sight of what that is all for, and become religious, as they say, religiosity. Krishna doesn't want us to be religious. That's for a certain class of people who don't know how to do it themselves, what the proper thing is. Don't have that love, that higher, what do you call, connection, as he's saying here. The sweet nectar of the lotus feet of Chaitanya Chandra. Our Vaishnava literature, Vaishnava-acharyas are telling us about this thing, that there is something higher than all that other stuff. It is there. But we have to open our hearts and our minds and our soul to that. That's all. Now that doesn't come from ordinary persons or in an ordinary way, through ordinary teachings or ordinary books. Remember that the preceding this verse is a verse that says, exclusive dedication is born from service to the devotees. That was the first step. Then the second step is that supra-mundane attachment also develops. So the dedication, first of all, the spirit of devotion, of service, of sacrifice arises from association, or not only association, but service to the devotees. And from that arousement of our sacrificing tendency, our giving tendency, will also produce attachment to that higher principle, divine love, praying. These two things go hand in hand. Many people that I have spoken with who come to our institute and come to our classes and so forth over the years, they all told me, why do I need a guru? I have the books. I can just read the books and study everything and learn everything. I tell them, yes, but if you read the book, what does it say? In the book, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Tadviti pranipatena, pariprastena sevaya, upadekshanti de jnana, jnaninais tattvadartha. If you want to know the truth, go to Guru. Now, book is telling like this, and you're saying you want to read book and not go to Guru. Then what kind of book reading are you doing? Huh? What is your understanding? You're simply reading and not understanding what you're reading, not following what you read. That's called theoretical knowledge, not practical, not pragmatic. You may have so much theoretical knowledge, but that's not going to help you. Practical, real life experience, that's what is needed. These things are given in the scripture. And they know what they're talking about. And they know what works. And that as a real thing, a tangible thing, is not just a theory, theoretical. So we have to take seriously these things, apply it in our lives, and then you judge the results. I remember when I first came to the devotees and to meet the devotees, and they were telling me all these things. And I thought, I'm a scientist, so I'm always doing experiments to prove things. So I'm going to do an experiment also here. I'm going to put myself in the test tube, though, and see what is the result. They are promising sat-cit-ananda. I said, that's too good to bypass. That can happen. Very good. I'm going to try how I can become sat-cit-ananda. Then I applied myself to this process. You see the result.
I remember one time you told someone it's like trying to learn how to swim by reading the book and looking at other people, but never wanting to go in the water.
Yeah. Just like that. Or, a person who wants to read a book on brain surgery. I read all the books on brain surgery. Now I can operate on your brain. Would you trust that person? Operate on your brain? Have you had any experience? No. But I read all the books. Not a very good idea. So in the same way, we can't just rely on book knowledge or theoretical knowledge or simply knowledge by itself. It's not enough. Knowledge requires that we also have put into practice that knowledge and have tangible experience in our lives of what is what in our hearts, and see if that doesn't awaken. That is the plea of Nityananda Prabhu. Plea of Nityananda Prabhu. We must chant the name of Gauranga. Just chant this name and see what result we'll get. Hare Krishna. Any question or comment? Okay. Devi's on the move.
Maharaj, what's the difference between a Vaishnava and a guru?
No difference.
No difference.
Vaishnava, pure devotee is guru.
Same.
But if we could learn or if we could serve under a Vaishnava,
okay.
under a guru, is the same. A guru, maybe you may say, has a more formal position as a teacher. Vaishnava may not take that formal identity on himself, but because he's a Vaishnava, he is actually a teacher. He's an Acharya, or one who teaches by his own example. And whatever we learn from a Vaishnava is we can accept that as our shiksha, our instruction. Whatever the Vaishnava says, we can accept that as an instruction to us of how we can become Krishna conscious. But in a formal sense, a guru will take a seeker and initiate them, give them diksha, in other words, and give them a mantra, go through various procedures in order to make a connection in that way, in a traditional way, in a formal way. But if we can get the association of a Vaishnava, then he is the real teacher. A guru must be a Vaishnava, but a Vaishnava does not necessarily practice in a formal way, initiating others. He just lives his life in a Krishna conscious way, and whoever comes in contact with such a soul, they automatically also can learn something about Krishna consciousness, how to live a Krishna conscious life. And a guru also, they have to have some familiarity with the scripture. Right? Shastra, they usually very adept at Shastric knowledge, and they can meet any challenge of the Shastra from others who are not, who may have some objections against what they are doing, or what the Vaishnava life teaches. So Guru has that ability to defend the sampradaya, defend the teachings, which ordinary Vaishnava may not have that kind of scriptural knowledge. But they are realized, like we were saying, beyond the scriptures. That is the ultimate thing. And Vaishnava is one who has reached that plane of Krishna prema. He has reached the relationship with the Lord. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yep. All right. All right. Any other?
Maharaj, I have a question.
Yes.
If oneself hasn't reached that plane, then how does one identify a guru who is on that plane?
Oh. That's called sukriti, merit. If you have the merit in your life somehow or other, if you have gained that qualification, where you can have the good fortune to meet a genuine Vaishnava, a genuine guru, and accept them, and that is the result of your sukriti, of your good credit. And you have done something good in the past that has led to your present position. And then the next step will be to connect with a genuine Vaishnava and to accept that connection. That is arranged by the higher world. As I explained, Guru means when the infinite comes to touch us, comes to take us to its platform. The infinite comes to the finite, and that point of contact is called Guru. So it's arranged by Krishna as a very fortunate position if one can reach that point. But it can't be manipulated by any mundane arrangement. It's between you and between Krishna and that spirit, soul, and self. When the soul feels ready to accept that higher, and the Lord is willing to accept us, then that arrangement may be made. There's no guarantee, because Krishna has his own, all rights reserved to him. He has to give us that. He has to make that situation occur, and then it will happen. That's not an ordinary transaction of this world. That's extraordinary. What can I say more? I'm thinking my own life. I never in my life, never once did I ever think of meeting a guru. It never occurred to me. As a scientist, that was completely outside of our, perspective. It never came to my attention or ever my desire or anything. And yet somehow when I met Prabhupada, I knew that he was, they told me he was a guru, and I knew it was the case. And I just accepted.
Maharaj, are you a guru? If you're a teacher, I don't know. I don't know
Yes,
who is, who isn't. Yes.
I would say that there are different types of gurus, and I don't take disciples, but I do give shiksha. Shiksha means instruction to take initiation. Just like Krishna Keshava Prabhu, he is not my disciple, he's a disciple of Acharya Maharaja. But I give him all the instructions about what it means to be a Vaishnava, what it means to serve devotees, serve the Guru, serve Krishna. All that, whatever I have learned through my own experiences, I share that with others. So in that sense, I am serving as what they call Shiksha Guru, instructing spiritual master. And I'm happy with that. I don't like to take disciples. I don't like to take people who are under me. I prefer to talk heart to heart with others, have a loving relationship with everyone who has that same mood with me, who likes to share their heart with me, and I like to share my heart with them. And I like that. Whoever I meet, Shanta Maharaj also, Shanta Maharaj, Muni Maharaj, they came to me and they liked what I was saying. They could understand they were making some progress in their spiritual life by associating with me and by following what I was saying. So automatically they accepted me as their Shiksha Guru. Because I was giving them the right direction, the right instruction. That was giving them some benefit, spiritual benefit. So in that sense, if anyone can do that, and I like that idea, anyone can do that. You don't have to be in a special position. Just have a sincere heart carrying out the best of your ability what you understand and what you have learned, and giving that, sharing that with others. There's my position. And if someone accepts me as their guide, their guardian, I'm very happy that I can be of use, of such use to others. And I don't feel my life as entirely useless. And what I have studied, what I have learned, I'm happy to give that to others. I remember Srila, I think I've told this several times too. And then he used to talk about his own life. He was a kind of quiet person, introverted person, who liked to meditate and study the scriptures in his own and have high thoughts about all these different topics. And he was very happy just doing that, sitting in his own place and just meditating on all these higher things. And he had very, very, very high thought, profound. And devotees used to come to him and ask him, come on, Maharaj, you have so much knowledge. Why don't you distribute that to others? Teach, take disciples, go out and preach and things like that. And Sridhara was a very retiring type person. He wasn't interested in becoming famous or being honored by others. He was simply trying to cultivate his inner relationship with the Supreme Lord, his love. But then he thought, and he also thought, that who am I? A very humble person, extremely humble. Humble means to recognize your actual position. And to recognize our actual position, we don't know the Supreme, nobody. We're finite. How much we can know of the infinite? We might know something, but how much of that infinite can we possibly know? But then he thought, like a doctor. A doctor doesn't know everything about medicine. But if a doctor waited until he knew everything there was to know about medicine before he became a doctor, before he treated patients, nobody would have a doctor. There would be a doctor for anyone. And the real strict sense of that. He said, but despite what they know and they don't know, still they try to help people accordingly. That's a doctor. And that is also a guru. Guru may have very advanced knowledge of many things, but he always recognizes I am finite and we're dealing with the infinite. And how much of that can we give to others? Something, but not always. We're not on ultimate control. Try our best. So I think that's my position also. And he used to also tell the story of the mango tree. There was one mango tree that was giving very beautiful and delicious mangoes. And they would all fall down on the ground. Nobody would pick them because it was behind a fence. It was growing behind a fence. Although it was totally filled with luscious fruits, they would all fall to the ground and rot. And the story was told that mango tree was in his previous life a Brahmin who had much knowledge, but he never shared that knowledge with others. And so in his next life, he became a mango tree like that. And no one shared his mango. So with these stories, he said, he decided to go and preach these ideas in his mind. He thought, let me preach, let me tell what I know. That is my duty. I like that, a very nice, a simple idea, not some grandiose, conception that I am guru or this, that, the other thing. We are humble servants of Krishna. And if we have understood that in some way, if we have looked deeply into our hearts and our minds, try to understand these things and apply these things, then that is sufficient to want to share that with others, do that to others. And hopefully that they can benefit the same way we ourselves feel we have benefit. And that is what my idea of a teacher is, a spiritual teacher. That's all. Now some are empowered to be great gurus, to accept a lot of disciples convert a lot of people into Vaishnava, like Srila Prabhupada did. That's different. Sridhar Maharaj told us Srila Prabhupada is a Shakti-based avatar. He was empowered by Lord Nityananda himself to come and spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. That's different category. So not everyone can try or even do that. That is them coming from above, an empowerment from above. And it's only for special souls. But for ordinary souls, still, we can manage to do something. Whatever we know, we can share with others. Whatever we have realized ourselves, we can help others to understand that also. So, anyhow, is that okay? Clear?
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Not from me.
You okay? Dr. Ross Prabhu?
Yes, happy to listen.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I thank you very much for listening to me and encouraging me to preach about Krishna consciousness. I take it as your blessings that I have given the opportunity to say something about Krishna. And instead of talking all kinds of nonsense things, I can talk about these things. It's very elevating for myself and for everyone. By Krishna's grace, you have come to help me in my service, and I bow down to you with all my love and all my obeisance. I Dandavat Pranam. Hari Krishna.
Dandava Pranam, Maharaj, Dandava Pranam,
Dandava.
devotee.
Oh, Hari
Love you.
Eh?
Hari Om.
Hari Krishna.